And welcome to the Soma Talks podcast, week 2. I'm Lee and Ileana, and once again, I am joined by my beautiful co-host, Ileana Castillo. Ileana, how are you today?
I'm all right. How are you today?
I'm good. And by the way, our podcast is sponsored by, you know who it's sponsored by?
Coda.
That's right, Coda Kitchen Bar and Restaurant. And we have a new sponsor, by the way, Lux 45, Maplewood's lifestyle boutique. So you can go to her store if you're a woman, and you can buy clothing, and then you could go to Coda and have a great meal.
Exactly.
And they're within a few feet of each other, I think, right? They're just right down the street from each other.
It's just a block away.
Yeah, all right, there you go. All right, Maplewood, downtown Maplewood. All right, great place to visit. So, Ileana, last week. Oh, by the way, before we get started, I understand we have a very special guest.
We do. We do have someone very interesting in that I am sure everybody's going to be happy to hear about.
Drum roll, please. And that guest would be Rocio Lopez.
Yay! Yes, she is the president of the Teachers Union.
That's the South Orange Maplewood Education Association Union president. I looked it up. Try and say that 10 times real fast.
No. I'm not saying that.
No, Rocio, would that be pronounced Rocio Lopez?
I would say in Spanish, Rocio.
Oh, Rocio, okay.
Rocio Lopez.
I was working on that one.
Yeah, she's coming in today to hear how are the teachers doing. I think the community really want to know how the teachers are handling all this mess that is going on.
Well, there's one big thing after the other. I mean, and look, I told you last week, my kid's out of school, and I don't really pay that much attention to it anymore. But you don't have to not pay attention to it because it's always on the national news. The Soma Board of Education. Every single week, there's something going on.
Every single week.
Right. I mean, between what we talked about with James Davis last week, right? And then there was, there's all sorts of issues at that school. Budget constraints. They don't have money. They're laying off teachers. I don't know. So we're going to try and unravel all this.
Hopefully, she gives her insight and what the teachers' thoughts about all this.
Yeah, right.
They don't speak much, so it would be good to know.
It's got to be tough being a teacher in Soma, and I'm sure I know teachers. And I love them, but there's so many of them. They say, "What's going on in Millburn? What's going on in Livingston? There's better opportunity out there." I think a lot of them would love to get out of Dodge, but they love the kids, but the busing situation, the busing kids from one side of town to the other, and
then you wonder why people are putting their kids in private school or moving out of town.
Yeah, because they can't get to work on time. I got to drop my one kid off at the Bolden school. I got to drop my other kid off at the Marshall school.
Oh, I hear that really is sad for me. I understand having one kid in one school and another one in another school, and the back and forth picking up. It's a headache.
It's
my heart goes out to those parents that I constantly see them posting about that.
Tell me about it. It was tough enough when my kid was going to school, and he had a bus, so we'll talk to Rocio about all that. Yeah, but last week's podcast, by the way, have you looked at those numbers?
We definitely ruffle some feathers.
Yeah, we ruffle some feathers, but we have over 1,000 hits, basically close to 1,000 hits right now.
Between YouTube and Spotify, yes, we do.
It's crazy.
That's not bad.
No, not bad.
And you thought we were only going to have like 2 or 3 listeners, Paul being one of them.
Right, exactly right. Yeah, I didn't even think Paul was going to listen, but apparently he did because he had a lot to say about the podcast. Yeah. And by the way, we did say that Paul was going to be on the podcast this week. Well, something funny happened. Should I explain? I'll explain it. So Paul says...
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, right, so Paul says, and this is Paul J. Haley. We talked about him last week. Anyway, for those of you sick and tired of hearing about Paul J. Haley, welcome to the club. But anyway, I just want to share this story with you. We did... You give him a hard time last week, and so I said, come on the podcast. You could come after me. I'll come after you. We'll have some fun. The people laugh. It'll be a lot of fun. So he said, sure, any place, any time, you name it. So I said, okay, well, how about today? He goes, oh, today's no good. I got to work late. So I was like, all right, well, how about tomorrow? He goes, oh, I got something going on tomorrow also. Paul, any place, any time means any place, any time. So he couldn't do the...
Who knew Paul was so in demand?
Yeah, he's a busy guy, apparently.
Busy guy?
Yeah. He's evading us is what's going on.
Yeah, right?
Right. Talk.
No, but I had a lot of people reaching up to me, and I'm sure you got people reaching up, and everybody loved the topic we discussed, especially... I don't even want to say the name of the chair because As you guys know, I'm Latina, and to pronounce that name is really hard for me. How do you call that chair? I don't...
Oh, the chair. The Adirondacks chair.
Adirondacks.
The Adirondacks chair. Yes, yes. I got beaten up so much this week by people who told me that they were insulted, that they told me I'm not allowed to say that word ever again.
Why?
Well, because it turned out they were the ones that are involved in the shenanigans.
Really?
Yeah, I got approached by a couple people.
I heard someone telling me that at Home Depot sold out those chairs.
Yeah, I heard that. I think that was a Steve Hickson joke, I believe, right? I saw that, Steve.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's true.
A little shout
I heard
out
a lot of people buying a lot of things with pineapple symbols on Amazon.
Yeah, no, man. I mean, you're right. We have a new sponsor, by the way. Our sponsor is Home Depot. No. That'd be nice.
Depot. That'd be nice.
That would be nice. Yeah. So,
did you know that another symbol of swingers is having the gnomes in your garden?
No, I did not know this.
I did not know that until someone brought it up to me. Not only about the pineapple, which, by the way, has to be upside down, you also have the gnomes. If you have tons of gnomes in the garden, that's another symbol of swingers.
I think my mother-in-law has some gnomes, so in the
and
garden.
Flamingos.
Okay, so
flamingos, big one too.
So flamingos, wow. Okay, so this is a growing industry.
It is a growing industry.
Yeah. So I was approached. Not by necessary, but they didn't say they were swingers. But they seemed a little. They weren't as excited about the topic as I thought they might be. You shouldn't have said all that. But hey, man, it is what it is. Look, we don't judge here, right?
No, they don't judge. No, we don't judge. No, I wish we would have a swinger couple coming in, but they usually are not really.
We tried
out there.
We tried it. Yeah, I went. We anonymous, however you want to do it. And look, the invitation's still open. So
the invitation's always open.
Yeah, it's always open, right?
We don't judge.
Right, exactly. And of course, the James Davis interview was I thought fascinating. You did most of the asked most of the questions, and I know people said I'm all set and I'm Sanchez guy and I don't care what he said, but I'm telling you,
a lot of pro Sanchez didn't want to hear the interview because they already have their mind set.
Right.
Which is sad. I thought Maplewood Health Orange is a town to be open-minded, but apparently certain things they're not.
I thought James Davis did a marvelous job of
you might not agree with him, but he made some valid points.
Right? This is a girl, a kid. This is a teenager in the community.
It's your neighbor.
Come on, guys. You know what? You may like Sanchez, and you know what? I've heard great things about him, but let's just not assume that this kid is lying. There's two sides to every story.
There's always two sides, and I read something that kind of was a little messed up, that someone posted that James need a better PR.
Yeah. Somebody wrote that. Yeah, that it was obviously he has a publicist. By the way, James Davis came here by himself. Yeah, he
doesn't even have a publicist.
No, he wasn't even wearing like a suit. He had like a short sleeve shirt on. He had a short sleeve shirt. He came in like he got off. He was doing some housework and he came over. Very nice guy, and by the way, handsome man too. What did you think? I thought he was kind of good looking. I was like, I was a little jealous actually. That's why I want to get Paul J. Haley in it so I can be the best looking guy once again in the studio.
Why are you saying that Paul Haley's not handsome?
When he's here, we'll compare. Yeah, we'll compare. Yeah, but just from the pictures I've seen on Facebook, I think I may have.
You know what? Another thing that people came up, they liked that we did the remnants of Maplewood Online. A lot of people were like, I really like that you guys touched that subject. Like it brought back a lot of memories.
Yeah, no, it was an interesting time for those that are newer to the community. Yeah, Maplewood Online, we talked about it last week, was the first social media page kind of in the history almost.
Here in Maplewood,
yes. Here in Maplewood, almost like they were really ahead of their time, and so we had a lot of fun with that. That's where so many people met and became friends and enemies.
And still, I'm still friends with many of those people.
And enemies. But yeah, that was it. Yeah, and it's grown. But I looked at some of the quotes that we have from the Soma Talks page.
Oh, let me hear.
And just about last week's podcast. Now this one here, Ileana was great. She asked all the right questions. Now that poster was that was Ileana Castillo who wrote that. Yes.
Of course I did.
But Sarantakis, who, by the way, John Sarantakis, we talked about him last week.
Oh, he's hard. He's fair, but he's straightforward.
He said, quote, James Davis was refreshing. He offered the other side of the narrative. Appreciated. That was John Sarantakis.
And it was true.
And then we have this third one. Lee and Ileana was hilarious. That was Paul J. Haley's family who wrote that. So, but no, we got a lot of wonderful comments, which we really appreciated.
You know what was one of the questions I wish I would have asked David? It was about Taylor. Why Taylor and the Board of Ed kind of didn't pursue this case, like they kind of wanted to rug it under the rug. I kind of, because there was so much information he was giving us, I really didn't have the time. But it was true what a poster said, that Taylor has a lot of blame of this because he was very aware of the situation and didn't do anything. Yeah. I wonder if they're going to investigate him. Or either the Board of Ed, shouldn't they be investigated too if they were aware of it and didn't do anything?
I would, you would think, right. I'm not a legal scholar by any stretch of the imagination, but look, I think we just need to sit back. And I talked to James after the broadcast, and I said, look, when things break, if things break, which I assume they will, when and if you come back on and
he's definitely have to come back for part 2.
Yeah, and tell us a little bit more. It was a great first episode.
Oh, everybody liked it.
I think you're going to like this episode. By the way, you know what? I listened to the episode afterwards, and I'd be remiss if I didn't. One of my favorite. Well, you asked me my favorite poster last week on Soma
I have my list. I was thinking about that because I only mentioned John Sarantakis, but you go first. Which are your top 3?
Yeah, you know what?
Posters of Soma Talks.
I tell you what. I mean, you know what? Not necessarily in an order, but Michael Goldberg. Michael Goldberg to me is kick ass. I love that guy. I'm sorry I didn't mention it more last week, but you know what? He's a guy, and and I'm not going to get into my feelings in Gaza and Israel and all that stuff, but Michael does. Michael makes it clear. I mean, there's he does not sugarcoat around it, and I appreciate that. He was a public guy.
He was a public. He was South Orange.
Yeah, he was a South Orange. What do they call that? South Orange. I think that's a weird name. That South Orange Committee
Village
Committee of Excellence for leadership, and the mayor isn't called
trustees.
The mayor. The trustees, the board of trustees.
Board of trustees. Yeah, he was there. You remember that when
Alex Torpey.
Oh my God.
Now he was for those unfamiliar with Alex Torpey. Right. So South Orange has these weird laws regarding, or not laws, but the election, how they handled elections, I guess. I'm not sure they do it like that anymore, but it was like in May or it was in June. It was like when nobody was paying attention. Sure. So I guess this guy Alex is hanging around with his college buddies. This guy's 20 years old, went to Seton Hall.
I know, he was very young.
Yeah, 21, 22. And it'd be funny. It'd be funny if you ran for mayor. One of those.
And he won.
And he won. Yeah, they won by. It was nobody showed up. Nobody even realized it was an election. Next thing you know, the mayor, he's 22 years old. And
22, 24. Yeah, he was very young.
Yeah, so Goldberg was on the board at that time. Yeah. He was a trustee. And Goldberg, and this kid just drove Goldberg up a wall. And it was. I remember he wanted. Torpey wanted you to pay your property taxes, or he recommended they pay with Bitcoin. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't remember that, but I wouldn't be surprised.
He's with Bitcoin. So Goldberg's what? He's saying you could watch it because it was on. They had it on the video
That's funny.
feed or whatever. Yeah, so it became must-watch, TV. Or people would just go down and. So one guy, this older guy, must have been in his 70s, and he was in town for 50 years. He used to go down and just to scream at Torpey. He didn't even have a point. He would just be you motherfucker. You shouldn't be. And Torpey would look at Goldberg for help. Because Goldberg's the mature guy. Goldberg would just kind of smirk hey. Yeah. It wasn't my idea, but so then.
So that's one of your favorite posters, Michael Goldberg?
Goldberg's, he's a good guy.
You're being biased because he's Jewish.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's right. But, he's a different type of Jew than me because my name's Navlin, Lee Navlin, so people don't think I'm Jewish.
That's true.
Yeah, I know. I didn't even get invited to bar mitzvahs when I was a kid because they were no, he's not Jewish. He's not invited. I mean, it was constant. So Goldberg, his name.
You know who's a good poster that I'm always looking forward to see where she says Madu Pai?
Ooh, Madhu Pai. Yes,
Ooh,
yes. Yeah, Madhu Pai. Yeah. No, she's brilliant.
She's this tiny little woman, but she is such a lovely woman.
She is, and good looking too, by the way, I might add.
She's a cutie.
Yeah, she is.
For
those women out there that don't like her, well, not only she's brilliant, but she's attractive and she's likable.
She's so
smart.
Very. She doesn't give you attitude. She's very open, friendly. I like Madhu Pai a lot.
But she was on the board. She was on the board of.
She was on the board of a time at the board of ed.
Yeah. So what happened there? Wasn't
it around 2010, 2011 at that time?
Maybe it was around that time.
She was around that time. Madhu's a good poster. She really does.
Yeah.
And sometimes all these hyenas or posters are attacking her, and I'm like, Madhu, how can you handle all these posters? She's like, I got it. And she goes one by one. She answers them with such professionalism and so classy response. Well, she doesn't never lose her cool.
No, she outrights them.
Matt, I don't know how you do it.
I guarantee you, remember when you had to get a job back in how many words can you type a minute? I guarantee you, she must be 175 words a minute.
Yeah, because she types a paragraph. She doesn't type one line. I lose my cool sometimes. I'll admit it.
Yeah.
I go full shark mode, but...
You ever type, leave a post, and then, I do a lot, and then you realize you typed a word wrong in it or something like that, and that's the only thing that people focus on. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, that's not how you spell there.
I've had that many times, and people are like, English is not her first language.
That's right.
I
feel silly. That's right. Yeah, because right. But English is my first language, so I have no excuse. So, but I'll get it wrong, and then and matter of fact, So one night,
did I call some people hyenas?
Yes, you might have. Yes, yeah, but that was directed at Paul J. Haley. So, right. So anybody thinking of calling that a lawyer? No. That's right. Paul's the only one who can call his lawyer. But so getting back to Goldberg. So Goldberg, he stands up for the Jews. So I'm in Maplewood Village this past Sunday. I was visiting Lux 45, our sponsor, right? Jill Berman, by the way. Wonderful. I love Jill and
lovely lady, very lovely lady.
Got to check out her store. She's awesome.
It's very cute, her little shop, yeah.
She's awesome. So I happened to be leaving her store, and I was like, oh, it's Sunday. It's like, I go, those the Palestinian protesters are over. So let me go check it out. Now, it's rainy. It's like a rainy Sunday. And I see a woman, she's kind of Skyping. There's 15 of them. There's one that Skypes. She's like, well, Israel and the Jews, and they got to be stopped at all costs. I was like, whoa. And it was 15 of them with the Gaza signs and this and that. And I was really ready to give them a hard time, but I kind of felt bad for them a little bit. I don't know. I don't know what
I don't know if we're going to invite Michael Goldberg or someone we need to invite to talk about the whole Jewish-Palestinian situation in Soma, because it's kind of stressing out a lot of people.
Yeah, and I say this, not as I support Israel, I do, and for those of you that are now turning off the podcast, I also my heart bleeds for everybody there. It's a terrible situation. But these people that were just 50 of them in the rain, and and I don't know, what are you guys doing? So what I did, I called Nancy Adams up and I said, Mayor Adams, and I said, look, Nancy, these people are here. You got to call Gaza and Israel, and you got to put an end to this once and for all, because they mean business. They're marching here in Maplewood, so I guess that's up to Nancy to end the war there. But anyway. So.
Aren't you a pro Nancy?
Yeah, but I like. By the way, she couldn't do it because she was mowing her artificial turf.
Oh.
Yeah. I can't do it now, Lee. I have to get back.
Oh my God, you're a pro Nancy.
I love Nancy. But I've known Nancy for 30 years. I knew Nancy when she was on Springfield Avenue picking up cigarette butts. That's how she started her political career. She moved to Maplewood. Springfield Avenue was a disaster zone. It was a highway that people just race through. They get you to the
pro Nancy. Yeah. I'm pro Malaya. Malaya or Malia?
Malia. I tell you what.
It's Malaya, Malia. Let's say Malia. I'm pro Malia.
We reached out to Malia, though, didn't we? Did you? I reached out there. She didn't get back to me.
I get it. All the candidates are busy right now and everything. We're just waiting for their response to see if hopefully we could have all three of them. I'll be happy if at least we have one.
But did she tell you that she's
been busy. They have a lot of things going on. I mean, they only have 2 or 3 weeks before the election.
But Malia Herman. Okay. Wish you the best of luck. running for office is a great thing. We're having nearly 1,000 hits here on this show. You need to come in. You need to talk to our audience. You need to tell them why you should join the township committee because, bottom line is Nancy's been doing this forever. Even Cripe
only has like 3 years, but Malaya's the new.
But
new girl.
No one knows anything about you. So you know what? Don't tell me that you're too busy. You can't come in. You're not too busy. Come in. You got the election coming up right now. I'm sure. I'm looking on her Facebook page, and I'm not picking on you, Malia.
No.
I don't even know how to pronounce her name. That's the whole point.
Malia. I'm gonna say Malia.
So I'm looking on her Facebook page. She's got something with, hey, look at me. And don't block me, Malia, because we'll be friends after this.
Yeah.
But she's got 9 or 10 likes.
No, this is all in good intention. We really would like to have you
Yeah,
on
well,
the
get
show and
you
ask
on.
you some fun questions and people get to know you. What's your favorite color?
Yeah, the Soma Talks page wants you to win, but what if they don't?
That is true.
But not all of them.
That is true. The Soma Talks.
So convince them. I mean, I'm an idiot. All you got to do is just sit down here and smile at me, and you got my vote. I mean, I'm pretty easy. And Ileana's a little tougher than I am, but
actually, I could be. That's true. But yeah, if anybody's hearing us and don't know about Soma Talks, if you want to be part of the group, go to Soma Talks on Facebook, and we're on Instagram, Soma Talk Podcast. If you guys want to ask us any questions, be a sponsor, or even come and chat with us, we'd love to chat with our neighbors.
Yes. So yes, we would, and we want the 3 candidates in here. We would like to see Nancy. We would love to see Malaya and Jasmine Cripe. I would love to see the 3. We will treat you all fairly. That is my promise. We're not here to judge. We're just here to educate. That's my
probably Lee's not judging.
You're judging. You're right. It's our new motto. Is we don't judge here at the Soma Talks podcast. We just do that on Soma Talks.
Oh yeah.
Soma Talks. But seriously, if one of you or none of you come in, what we're going to do is we're going to spearhead a write-in campaign right here on the Soma Talks podcast and Soma Talks. Well, again, there's thousands of members, and I'm going to ask that everybody vote for Paul J. Haley. Okay?
Oh my God! What
do you think of that? Yeah, why not?
Do you think he would do a nice town council?
Paul, by the way, I think Paul would actually do a good job. Yeah. So we have So we have our guest coming up in just a bit. That is
Rocio Lopez.
Yeah, Rocio Lopez. Again, she is the. I'd like to say her title specifically, so because it's a brilliant title, and I wish I had a title like this. She's a South Orange Maplewood Education Association Union President. She's coming up in just a bit, and we have all sorts of questions for her about the.
In other words, she's the president of the Teachers Union.
She's the president of the Teachers Union. She's the president of the Teachers Union, and that is coming up in we're just going to take a short break. So again, just to refresh you on our sponsors, because if not for them, we don't keep the lights on. So I would just like to again thank Coda Kitchen, which is, by the way, a restaurant that Ileana and I always conduct our business at. We sit at the bar, we have a few drinks, and we talk about what we're going to do next.
Yeah, try the Ileana steak wrap.
It says Ileana steak wrap.
It's not on the menu. Hopefully, they usually put it sometimes on the summer, but try it. Oh, it's so good.
Yes. I will try that because
Ileana steak wrap.
Okay, I try to avoid red meat. Just
they usually
doctor's orders, but but I love going to sit in the bar and Allison and Lauren, the bartenders. I mean, he's got great bartenders, and they treat you like family, and the food is great, and Luke Finn is just. He's been here
I saw him today. I know. He's such a sweetie.
Yeah, and he's got the Outer Borough right next door, which is the deli, and he's just, the guy's a magician when it comes to making food. He really is.
He's good.
And we also, of course, we have Lux 45, which the lifestyle boutique. Okay, let me tell you a little bit about Lux 45, Ileana. So just a little history. Owner Jill Berman, she scours sustainable and women-owned vendors from around the world. That's what she does. She travels to retail shows regularly to source quality items, function and form. For those men out there, she'll find you that perfect birthday gift for your wife or your girlfriend, or if you're swapping.
Nah.
It's all out there. It's all out there. But seriously, though, check out Lux 45 Lifestyle on Instagram. Tell her Lee and Ileana sent you from Soma Talks podcast. She'll save you 15% right there.
Yeah, she's right there in the corner.
163 Maplewood Avenue. It's right across from the Village Coffee Shop.
Yeah, exactly. Right there. Yeah.
So we're going to take a short break, and we'll be back with
Rocio Lopez.
Rocio Lopez. Thank you.
I can take a noun and bend it, give me a noun.
Fast folks breaking clown.
Make it a verb and really send it.
Show me how.
Welcome back to the Soma Talks podcast. I'm Lee and Ileana with Ileana Castillo, and we have a very special guest with us here in studio. It is Rocio Lopez. She is the South Orange Maplewood Education Association Union President. So, Rocio, thank you so much for coming down and spending a few minutes with us. We really appreciate it. I know there's so much to talk about. We're talking the Soma School District. We are on the news regularly. And I'm not talking local news. I'm talking national news. The Channel 7 News, Fox News, CNN. I'm sure your friends are like, hey, I saw you in the news again last night.
I know, right?
You're like, what was the story about?
Well, even in DR, they asked me, like, Ileana, is that the town where you live? You're in the news again. And
yes.
I'm like, yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you for having me. That's the first thing. My position is not a very popular position. When I work with the union, right? As a teacher, it's a different story. But, actually, yesterday I was in Teaneck doing a presentation for pensions. I work some things on the side. And people were like, what is the last time you guys were in the news, like joking to me? And I was like, oh my God.
Like an hour ago.
You too.
And they were like, okay, so that was your principal? I'm like, yes.
Yeah, that's right, and that's ongoing. We had James Davis on last week. You hope perhaps you heard the interview. Look, there's a long road there. That's.
What are your thoughts about that? When you heard him, I mean,
Okay.
your point of view, not the teachers. You, how do you see this when you heard Mr. Davis?
Knowing what I know in this position, I know every story has two sides, and then somewhere in the middle is the truth. And
Correct.
The truth of the matter is, I will not put myself in any positions until I know what happened.
That's where we are, too.
Even when we had issues with our own members, I try not to get involved. I don't say anything because at the end of the day, everybody has the right to due process.
Correct.
And the truth eventually comes out, and we will know what happened. And, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate for the student. It's unfortunate for Frank. And I don't know enough. And I wouldn't talk bad about anyone because the character that I know of Mr. Sanchez is not a person that is violent whatsoever, but you never know what a person could do in a specific moment. So I don't want to defend him or not defend him because I don't know the facts. I don't know what happened.
Do you feel there's a sense that the teachers are backing up Sanchez, or they're just like, no, we just stay neutral?
I think you have some teachers that maybe they're backing him up, some people that are neutral, some people that they're like, okay. But working in Columbia High School right now, everybody understands that things are a little bit out of control. So even though it came as a big surprise for all of us, everybody's human. Things are not working the way they're supposed to. So I suppose everybody's watching and nobody really knows what happened. And talking about the teachers, I think the teachers, we were not involved with anything. So it's not like sometimes where some teachers were part of something. This was mostly administrators. So I think they're the ones that know if they saw what happened. So
Is there a concern, for instance, and Mr. Davis brought this up last week. He said at the Montrose School, a teacher was immediately suspended for allegedly holding a child upside down. And there was also the
hijab.
The hijab situation, right, where again the teacher was basically suspended immediately. Criminal charges were dropped. I don't even think they were ever. I think they did. Well, the prosecutor determined there was no criminal intent and there was no charges ever. But she's still suspended. What do the teachers think about that?
I don't know if she's still suspended or she just made a deal or I don't know exactly where she's because, again, when a case gets that high, it goes to lawyers.
Right.
And when they go to lawyers, I personally don't want to know anything.
Gotcha.
Because I have privilege of confidentiality within the district, but not in a court of law. So my job is just to make the people aware of what's going on and give them the lawyer or talk to NJA. And then after that, but if you ask me, yes, usually our members get, if they're not suspended necessarily, it could be put it on a leave, something while they investigate. Yes, that usually happens right away with our members. Not in every case, but in a case where allegedly things could have been, physical or something like that. Yeah, a member, SOMEA members will be put, out of the school right away. That is
right.
What he said. That in that regard is true.
Okay, so that's the protocol, and that was one of his biggest concerns, and is that
It was.
why was I guess for the better part of a year Sanchez able to continue, but
I also think that when it's administrators, I don't know if the rules are exactly the same, and I'm not talking about because central office is prejudiced or not. I'm not even saying that.
Right.
I think the administrators have some kind of different procedure, maybe. So I don't know enough about how the administrators work. So I don't know. Again, and if James Davis is saying that and he has knowledge about this, he might know more than me. But I can tell you, SOMEA members will be put outside of the school right away.
Understood.
Okay. Rocio, I'm going to ask you the $1 million question
Oh, let's see.
that I think everybody wants to know. What are the biggest challenges right now that you think the school district is facing?
Oof.
That's
I don't know.
That's the $1 million
loaded question right there.
Well, the one just came out is the 28 cuts with the budget.
That came out as a surprise for everyone.
Budget
yeah.
deficit that we all want to see what's going on. So obviously there is a money piece over here, but
So who was cut? 28 cuts. That was
25 people were SOMEA members. Well, SOMEA positions, I should say, because I think one of them wasn't a member. But they were SOMEA positions. And
now, SOMEA positions are teacher positions.
are teachers, nurses, secretaries.
Okay.
So most of the people that works for the schools are SOMEA members,
Okay.
except paraprofessionals because they outsource them. Exactly. The transportation now is outsourced, but most of them, if you think administration, then usually they're ASCA. That's
Okay.
their association. And then central office is like I don't think they have a union per se. So, but 25 positions out of the 28 were SOMEA.
So this is a slap. This is a real slap in the face to the union.
Obviously.
Yeah. I mean,
So that's the biggest challenge right now?
No. I mean, that's a big challenge. That's one of the big. Right now, that's the hot challenge.
That's the shot one, yeah.
The challenge is how can we go back to teaching and learning? Going back to the basics. The biggest challenge, in my opinion, is procedures. What are the procedures? How are we implementing them? Are we making kids accountable? Are we making grown-ups accountable? So our district is very reactive instead of proactive. So the forecast, when it was said, I don't know how to forecast or I can't forecast. Well, everybody should forecast in a school district, even a teacher. When you do your lesson plans, what are you doing?
Right.
You're forecasting.
You're forecasting when you're going to get all the material taught to the kids. You have a certain, look, from September to June, and I have to get through this course catalog. And
Exactly, the curriculum. Then you also have to kind of figure it out. What questions am I going to get from the kids? So I'm ready to answer to them, depending on the level that you're teaching, right? So challenges is that because... of course, a special ed, we have tons of challenges with the special ed, and I think that's a big handicap for this district because we spend a lot of money because I don't think we're doing the things right. I don't know if it's a problem from top to bottom, from bottom to top, but again, if we don't have procedures that are clear, and then board policy doesn't match with the procedures, and then the rules don't match with the board policy and the procedures, so then this opens the opportunity of lawsuits.
Yeah.
And also it opens the opportunities for things not to be done appropriately or for kids being in classrooms that they shouldn't be. So everything is like a ball of things that I think we need to stop, all of us, and start from the beginning again.
let me ask you something. One of the talking to parents, their concerns is the busing situation, the way the kids are sent from one side of town to the other side of town. I guess this is for, I don't know what the word is. So everybody has all the children, especially the younger ages, have a fair chance to learn equally. So parents are driving to the one school and to the other school, and then they've got to quit jobs in New York because they can't get there in time because there's no busing anymore. And one of the parents told me, I said, well, how is that all figured out? And they said, through an algorithm, basically.
That's what I heard too.
And what's and when I say algorithm, does the computer say, well, here's a young African American 12-year-old boy, he should go to this school. Here's a white girl, she should go to that school. So everything is even. We got every 15, everybody matches in all the schools.
I wish I could tell you how they do it, because sometimes it doesn't make sense to me. Like, how is that you have a kid in one street that is the only kid going to a different school, and now the kid is not going to have friends in their street?
Right.
I mean, for me, it has to be more than that. I think they're thinking so much about, let's do social justice in the way that we do this, that they're forgetting the human part of people too. And we are not numbers or a race or a gender. We're people.
Right.
And when you dehumanize a school district, then how are you going to make things work? So the ideas are good, but I go back to the same. Why aren't we predicting, forecasting all these things? Why don't we take the time? Why are we always in a hurry to do something new, quick, and not doing it right?
Is that the turnover with the Board of Ed? I mean, it seems like every few years there's a whole new group of Board of Ed lead, and I know that the current board is blaming the prior board.
That's a good question. How is the union relationship with the Board of Ed right now? How's that relationship? Is it good? Is it kind of nervous? It's like walking in eggshells. Like, how are you guys? Or it's some board members you're okay, others not. Like, how do you see that relationship there?
The thing with the board is that depending on the decisions they make, we're going to be happier or not happy with them. There are some people that seem to be more on point than others when I sit over there. But that doesn't mean that they might not make a decision that it hurts my members. So I cannot align myself with anybody specifically, right? Because I can say today, let's say, tell me one board member, whoever you want. Tell me one.
Caitlin.
Okay, let's say Caitlin, and I say talk very nice about Caitlin today.
Yeah.
And tomorrow Caitlin passes and says votes no to a contract.
Okay.
So I don't want to align myself that way, but I can tell you for what I see, because I do sit in the board meetings, and you see me over there sometimes, the last one over there with them, that I can realize who knows more about education and who's doing the homework and who's not. And in my opinion, there are 3 ladies right now. Well, I think more are joining now. But there were 3 ladies that you can see they're prepared, they're taking notes. You just look at the body language. You just see how they're nodding or not, like paying attention. So you can see already who are really trying to figure it out. And they might not be doing the right thing, or maybe they are. But at least they're trying to figure it out. So that at least as a teacher,
right,
when I look at that, I'm like, oh, there will be like the 3 good students that they're trying to do the right thing, right?
You're studying them and you're saying, these guys are listening to what I'm saying, as opposed to the other guy's looking at his watch and...
or one is falling asleep.
He's got his he's already decided what he's doing, regardless of what all the audience, the people that are the parents and the teachers and the students that show up to voice their concerns.
Remember, their questions are key. Like for me right now, people that were asking, okay, why, like transportation, let's go back to that one. You could see how the people that were asking, why do we have the routes this way? Why are the kids late to school still? Why didn't we fix it? Why? And you can see one of them, I met with the contractors. Why are the boards having to meet with the contractors? Why isn't the superintendent doing that? Why isn't the business director doing that? Why are we spending so much money in transportation when it was supposed to be to save money, according to some board members, for the teachers' contract? That's not true. We all know when you outsource the first year, they give you a cheaper price, and then they kill you with the prices. So, and you get what you pay for is what you get, right?
Yes.
So those are the kind of things that I look in the board. So if you're asking the right questions, are going to like you until you don't.
Until you don't.
Exactly.
The arts programs, I'm like stunned. I'm reading, and I'm catching up on all this because in lieu of the interview with you.
Yeah,
and
that one was a shocking too. I heard a parent complaining that they don't have the materials for art for next year,
like
something like that.
Paints and brushes, or
According to one mom said in the last board meeting last week, she said that there was $0 in the budget for elementary, if I recall, for arts. And what I read is that supposedly the money is in the schools. But I don't know necessarily how it works so much in elementary. Usually I think they get a budget, the teachers, for certain things, but I don't know if that's the budget for everything. So if you only get $100 a year for an arts program, doesn't seem like too much money. Usually the money comes from the department. At the high school, if we need something, the only thing we get from the school is the paper in the copier's room, right, for the copies. And then if you need pencils or things like that, Post-its, they have a little closet that we go and we ask, and we get it. But we don't really get money from any other place. And if we need something, we go to our supervisor and we say, hey, I need this. And in my case, Dr. Robles, right, is my supervisor. He might say, yes, I have money, no, or that can be approved, cannot, right? Like, for example, when we needed recorders for the AP, the school is going to buy them, but can I buy one earlier so we can try it and start using it so I learn how to do it? Okay, so then I'll reimburse you for that one, right? And but it's crazy to me
getting back
that
to
we don't have the basics.
Getting back to these cuts, the 20-something cuts. Do we know who's been fired, laid off? Do we have those?
I think someone posted on SOMEA Cares the list. It's out there already.
So they kind of like, it's not like clear, like name by name. But
I thought it was name by name.
It might be somebody apparent, but I don't think the district put the names per se. But I can tell you that I sat down this past Friday, no, the Friday before. I went the whole day after teaching my classes to walk and tell people that they lost their jobs. And they did an amazing job, but because of money, they were losing their jobs. They didn't have a job.
Who gets to pick the teachers to be laid out?
The way they did it, they say is LIFO, which is like seniority. So last person hired is the one that lost the job. That's the decision they made. There are two ways that usually people cut when it's budget. When you don't get rehired, you don't have seniority when you don't have tenure, right? So some people didn't get rehired, that I heard about it, little by little. Then we had like several members that, lost their job that Friday and the Monday after, and we have to sit down. And those people were like good workers. And the difficult part is this. Anybody losing their job, even Burnside, even though, I was unhappy with the way he was doing, it's tough to see somebody losing their job. So I'm not happy about that part,
He was the administrator, right?
Yeah,
he was
the business administrator.
And he was a vote. It was a vote by the board.
Doesn't have anything to do with me. But when you see somebody that is not doing their job appropriately, or there is something, at least you can rationalize.
Right.
Okay, this person wasn't getting the scores in their evaluations, or this person had a budget deficit of this money, or this person. But when you see people that are amazing at their job, and they're telling them you're not coming back, and they might be better than other people
that have tenure,
that they don't even have tenure, but they were hired before then. Like, we have a case of one of the secretaries at the high school that I knew the administrators were fighting for her. I'm going to steal it from you. The athletic director, secretary, because of seniority, she lost her job, and they were all fighting jokingly, right? Because they wanted that secretary.
And she got fired.
And the worst part is, not only she got fired, like, she doesn't even take the health benefits from the district. It's only the salary. So it was like, seriously, like...
Right. He weren't even taking benefits from us, and we're still,
it's
still
like,
sending out the door.
It's costing less money to the district. But again, somebody has to go, and they decided like that. And no matter who lost their job, it was going to be hard.
Obviously, you disagree, all this, that cutting 28 staff for the budget.
I don't... Again, I want to see...
They couldn't find the money somewhere else.
Yeah, why couldn't they find the money somewhere else? Why couldn't they do other cuts?
Can they go to the Department of Education in Trenton and say, like, hey, we need some help or something?
Usually in July is when the state, like, finally gives the aid and all of that aid. And sometimes we get more money than what they projected. Mm-hmm. So I remember in Montclair last year, I think they cut some positions and then they brought people back in July. So I don't know if that is something that could happen here. I'm hoping.
Who does that? The Board of Ed or the superintendent?
Well, the superintendent at the end, everything. Yeah, the superintendent is the chief.
He's the last stop.
Yeah.
So it's almost like the Supreme Court, I guess. He could reverse all the decisions by.
He could hire, say, look, we got more money and we're going to open this position. Some people were told in that day that if they were to find the money or somebody retire, that they will be the first one they are calling.
Okay, so there are people waiting.
Even though you only do that, actually, by law, you only have to do that with tenure people. That if you open the position, they have the right to get it.
Yeah.
But some of them were not tenure, and they were told, look, if we open this position, we're going to think about you.
Question, Rocio, what do you think about these paraprofessionals being out? What is that? I used to be a paraprofessional, not anymore, but they're very important.
In full disclosure, I've done paraprofessional work as well.
So it's,
I think that's one of the killers of the district.
was it Kelly or AESS? That
ESS, I think, is the one that.
So
that's
they're
already-
not rehiring them.
I
again.
don't
What's
know.
with that? What happened?
Well, our paras, I don't think. I mean, it's like everything. You have people that are better, or you have people that are worse.
A lot of parents are crying over that.
Well, I'm sure they're going to bring paras. Like, they have to bring paras. The problem is
Doesn't seem
they
that
should
way.
have kept paras in SOMEA. Back in the day, the paras were part of SOMEA. And when you have paras that are part of the district, they are part of the community. They care about the kids in a different way.
You say the district hiring them directly, the paras.
Yes. So obviously we need paras. I know there were issues. And the problem also was there is not really a supervision of the paras in the schools. Who is the person in charge? No, this administrator. No, this one. Nobody really wants to do it. Then they told the teachers, you have to take care. No, we're not the administrators.
I thought it was the principal because I work in another school district. I'm not going to say for my haters, in another school district. And we have a lot of paras, and usually it's the principal that.
And what level do you work? What did you work?
Middle school right now.
In middle school, at the high school, they put it to first, it was supposed to be the supervisor of special services, but then they took the supervisor of special services, and he's working in central office mostly because Susie Budain was out partially in the year. So we don't really have a special ed supervisor. So who took it? Then they gave it to an assistant principal. That, remember, the high school, we lost the principal. So it's been crazy, but not necessarily. Remember, South Orange and Maple might not do things like other districts.
Oh, the district. I think that's been clear.
But the paras are key. But,
They are.
And we need good paras. And paras
Do you
are
think
going
they're going to bring them back?
Well, if they don't bring them back from ESS, they'll bring another company. But you know what happens? Then the people that work for ESS will work for the other company.
And hopefully you get back to familiar face.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what happened in Elizabeth School District. Well, I already said where I work. In Elizabeth School District, that they had Kelly Education for paras.
And that would be Elizabeth, Kentucky, by the way. Just
Yeah, right,
for the haters,
exactly.
right?
They dropped them off and got ESS, and all those paras that were in Kelly, they transferred them to ESS because they wanted like you said, the familiar face, and they know, and the school wanted to work with those paras. But is this about money or why they dropped them off?
This is probably money. Everything at the end is
and they
money.
think it's going to be cheaper with the other people?
But I don't know. I mean, again, they don't tell us a lot of the things that they did. You see.
But the teachers are the one that suffers without the paras. Now
Yes,
they got to work double.
they have to put the paras for certain kids because it's in their IPs. Oh, well, they have to. They should. Now, that's why we get lawsuits sometimes because things, kids don't get the accommodations or modifications they need, right? But I foresee somebody coming. I mean, somebody has to be there. My thing is, what is the difference? Because I know the state gives some aid or some money if you have paras. What is the difference between hiring the paras for us? Because if they're part of the community and they work in the same district over and over, and then the teachers, it changes the whole thing. Then you put all your effort, and then you become all of them together. It works. And then there will be SOMEA. And even though it will be more problems for me because it will be more people, right? Mm-hmm. I think the school district will work better, and especially will work better. Oh, sorry.
It's out of these cuts. Is there one? I mean, I don't want you to say, well, this one's more important than that one. But out of these cuts, I mean, is anything that you've said? You said, oh no, what now? No way in the world we can go without this position.
Okay, there is one position, and I'm not talking about the person or not. I'm talking about the position.
The position, yeah.
That for me was crazy, and it was the director of guidance.
Director of
Oh,
guidance.
yeah, everybody been talking about that.
Not for
one.
nothing.
Yeah.
Not for nothing. I think
That's at the high school. Director of
Yeah.
guidance at high school. So there will not be a director of guidance.
no.
Everybody's been talking about that. Haven't you
No.
seen social media?
So I always had.
I didn't see it on Fox News, so that's where I've been getting my.
I have been teaching
some information.
at the high school for 20 years, so 23 in the district, right? 3 years in South Orange Middle, and then I went to the high school. And I always had a director of guidance. And the director of guidance used to be a person very important that used to work very closely with the principal. That position, as it went changes, it kind of lost some of the importance, if I can say it, and the responsibilities that they used to have. And maybe that's what they see they don't see the need anymore for the position. But that position done appropriately is a position that you need somebody there. And look, that position is not from SOMEA, but there were also like aides. We had only 2 or 3 aides that worked in the district for SOMEA, like the parent liaison for the Haitian kids, a woman that speaks Creole, an advocate for the kids and talks to the families because they don't speak the language.
Right.
No.
She only works part-time.
Yeah.
Then you have the ELL aide. Kids. So in some positions, I was like, wait, access and equity. And what the cats are going is access and equity. So, but as a whole, I suppose a director of guidance, unless you have a very good plan or somebody in administration that can do that job, it's something that I didn't expect at all.
Now the pandemic money was coming in, and I guess that's no longer.
Yeah.
So that was
$3 million.
$3 million. Is that why we're in this hole? Why exactly is the Board of Ed? I mean, if the Board of if you had to sit there like a math teacher and say, "Listen, Board of Ed, here's your problem: 9 times 9 equals," and spell it out for them. What for everyone listening? Why exactly is this? Are we in such a hole?
I think it's a mix of things. I think we're wasting or losing money in lawsuits, and if we need to send a lot of kids out of district. Because a lot of money, I think it was $19 million from the budget, is just for the kids that are out. They're out of the district. That's a lot of money when you think that the actual budget for operations, it was what, 150 or something? Something like that. It's 172, I think, the whole budget, if I remember right.
That's like nearly $20 million at 170.
Exactly. So it's a lot of money. So
why do kids leave the district?
Because they didn't give them the resources. The parents usually, sue the district or we don't have the resources for them. Sometimes it could happen.
Right.
But I remember when we had Laura Morano for a while, and she will figure out ways to give resources for kids because they realize if you do well in special ed, right, then you save a lot of money to the district that you can put in the classes and everybody gets the resources that they need. So that's one of the problems that I see. I think transportation at the beginning was supposed to be, we're going to save money. I don't think they are. When you're doing an integration plan where you're going to need more buses and you sell your 10 buses that you have, outsource, now they didn't think about the sports. What about field trips? You know how much is like when you want to do a field trip, you know how much is a field trip? Like we used to have the school buses for free for the kids in elementary to go maybe to the Turtle Back Zoo.
Right.
Now, they might have to pay $700 just for the bus.
Just for a bus.
Oh, wow.
Just for a field trip.
And Elizabeth is free. That's
So
true.
now
Yeah,
you
the
can
bus.
see that there are almost no field trips for the kids because of this decision. What about the sports?
And the bus has got to wait there. It's a 6-inning game, overtime, and it takes the kids don't get home until 11 o'clock at night. The bus is sitting there the whole time.
And then think about the sports.
Yeah.
Now the sports, you have to send the teams to different places. So I don't know if they calculated all of that when they did the transportation budget or they only calculated per student. You know how much it's going to cost. But those expenses are also
Awesome.
other things that I might think. There is money that is spent sometimes in pilots and programs that you're like, why? Like, why did we spend $30,000 or $40,000 in logos last year to change all the logos? When we don't have money.
Yeah, was that part of the Jefferson Bolden?
That was one of the things. That was
so
a change of name. But look, you can change the name and create a logo for one. But they did logos for every school, new ones.
Yeah.
And they spend all that money. So when you don't have money, why Why central office has now swipeys for the office of the superintendent when you have a person at the door, already a security person that you didn't have in the past, and you put another security outside with a swipey, and why in the business director office, in that hallway, they put 2 doors now, like with swipeys too. Like, why are you spending that extra money when the schools don't even have all of that, right? Like, well, you start looking at things little by little. And remember, it's like when you go to buy things, right? You go and you say, I'm going to buy a TV. You buy the TV, you know how much you're going to spend, you forecast, you think, okay, this is what I'm going to need. That people that buys one big thing, but then they hold and they do good with their budget, they do really well. It's the people that I spend $5 in this, $3 in this, 20 in this. At the end, they spend more money than the person that buys the TV and the piece of furniture, right? They buy a lot of little things. So sometimes I feel we do things like that instead of like going and projecting appropriately.
And this is a board of ed thing. I have a friend of mine, a college friend from 100 years ago. I'm very old. He's in Bergen County. He's a teacher, been there 25 years. He knows the school. He knows the district. This is Bergen County. He decides a couple of years ago he's going to run for the board of ed. He goes, hey, by the way, everybody, I'm running for the board of ed. He puts it on his Facebook page or whatever. Hey, best of luck. A month later, hey, I won. And he's on the board of ed. It wasn't like here where it's like all of a sudden there's debates and there's this and there's fighting and there's 9 candidates and there's these special interest groups that are lobbyists. It just seemed like, oh, he's a teacher. He knows what he's doing. He's on the board. The board of ed, it seems like people move to this district. They have experience or no experience. I'm an educator from Brooklyn. I was involved in the educational program to advance children to the next level. But they're not teachers. They're just what do we do about this board of ed? How do we get competent people? And I don't want to say everyone there is incompetent right now, but what would you do? What needs to change?
Should we fire them all and get new ones?
Right. I mean,
a lot of people have said that.
Yeah, a no confidence vote on the board of ed, and we start over.
I like some of them. I
like some of them too.
I like some of them because
I'll name them.
They do their homework, and you see them ready, and at least they try to learn as they're going through the process.
Teachers like Mr. Taylor?
No. Well, how are we going to like somebody?
So you guys are happy that he's out?
There is a word that is overused, but I'm going to have to use it because it's the one that defines it the best. He was gaslighting us. He was gaslighting the community, right? Okay. Why are we going to like somebody that gets in front of us, like very nice? I got to say, he was always nice to talk to.
Okay, yep.
Always respectful.
Said that he was really
always respectful. I will never say a word like perfect gentleman in that regard. Right. But he will tell you one thing, and then he will say another in front of other people, and then when you ask him something, he will send you to another person to blame, and then you will go to the administrators, and they will tell you it was Taylor, and then Taylor will tell you it was the administrators, and then it was a point where you're like, am I getting crazy? Am I making this up? Right. Then you tell Taylor, if you change the schedules for the elementary schools for the teachers, you're only giving them 3 minutes to get ready in elementary for the kids to come in June. Oh, yeah, I'm going to check into it. 2 days before school, Rocio, can we negotiate that the teachers change the schedule? I'm like, how are we going to negotiate that? That's something that needs to ratify. Okay, so now the teachers have 3 minutes in certain schools. We told him 2 or 3 months in advance. Well, if I were to talk about COVID, forget it. But The problem with Taylor is he was a politician. He wasn't a superintendent.
The interim superintendent right now, his name is
Kevin Gilbert.
Yeah, Gilbert. Teachers seem to like him, or at least the teachers I know.
He's trying. It looks
seems like he's trying, and of course they brought in a big firm, I guess, to do conduct a nationwide search for the next Great Hope. What are your thoughts on that? If we got a guy that's working, shouldn't that be the guy?
Okay, so Kevin Gilbert is a very likable guy. It's a very nice guy. He, with the right help, maybe he could have done it. But again, I think he needed help because he wasn't seasoned enough for a position like that. So could he do it? Yeah, with a consultant maybe advising him. Why not? Because imagine seeing yourself with this deficit. You don't know a budget well. You have to learn on your feet with all the issues And if it will be a smaller district where we have or they had less issues, I would say, yeah, Kevin Gilbert of the Wazoo, he can do the job perfectly. He's a gentleman. He tries to learn. He talks to everyone, right? He's a nice guy. The problem with this district, and I love Kevin with me, like personally, we have a very good relationship, is the level of nonsense in this district. If they would have hired a consultant for him, he could be successful. If they don't want to do that, then they need to bring somebody seasoned. But he could be the next person, like waiting. What it feels, in one way, I feel bad for him because he took all of these, he did all of these, and then we don't know if he's going to be the superintendent or not. And you're like, he tried this hard. But at the same time, I can understand, and taking the person away, I can understand if the board gets somebody that is seasoned for this position.
So it's the right move. He may still he may get the job, but there's going to be competition.
It might not be the right move depending who they hire.
Right.
So again, sometimes it's better what you know, right, and work with the person.
The devil that you know.
Work with the devil. Yeah.
The only thing is, I understand. I'm not saying it's the right move because you never know. But for me, it was two options. You leave Kevin Gilbert, you bring a consultant to help him, or you hire somebody seasoned for a district like ours.
Understood. Rocio, let me ask you, we're short on time.
Yes.
This has been, thank you so much.
I know, it's so much information.
Yeah, so much
in one day.
information. I really appreciate your time.
So good. It's really
Very
good.
informative.
Well, now you invite me once every whatever number of
We might have to invite you like every
invitation?
couple of weeks to updates because
I think Ileana's ready to throw me out and just make you the co-host. That's it. She's had it with me.
I have to talk like that then.
That's right. Yes.
Welcome.
Right. The key is to just look like you know what you're doing. And that's what I've been trying to pull off for the last few weeks. But what are you going to say to that family? They've moved here. They look at the Clinton school is a block away, and they say, "What a beautiful house! Our child will go to the Clinton school, the Marshall school. Doesn't matter.
Tuscan,
the Tuscan, and he'll walk there. And I didn't have that. He'll walk to school, and it'll be great. He'll walk with little brother Timmy, and then they'll walk to school together. And what would you say to them? Okay, here's what you're going to experience if things continue the way they've been. What would you tell that young family moving to Maplewood, South Orange?
Poor things.
run away.
Well, I have some teachers that when our kids at the high school say, my brother, my sister is coming, my parents don't know if to send them to private or not. I say, well, I would like to be in Columbia High School. And some colleagues tell them, no, tell your parents to put them in private, not right now, the way things are. I wouldn't want my kids here. Mm-hmm. And I get it. So why do I tell them? If you want and care about education, is try to speak up. Don't allow the same groups to run the district with the same politics for attention and to make, just get involved. Don't listen to the same group of people. When you're sound, you have to listen to everyone. If this group of people is saying something, it's for a reason. You're not going to have a teachers' union spending time in something if it's not important. So if people are putting their own time, their family time to go a place, so get involved and try to resolve things. Things can improve. So right now, things are not good. In elementaries, they're better depending on the school. So everything depends on the school. The middle schools, one is better than the other, right? So it has to do a lot with the school. I'm not going to lie to you. Like right now, Clinton is a happy land. Last year, it wasn't.
Okay.
So it also has to do with administrators and the culture that they create for the teachers. And once the teachers feel good and appreciated by the administrator, they work harder and everybody's happier. But they have to pay attention to the cats, pay attention where the money is going. Our central office is larger than ever, I think, in numbers. But we don't have money for certain things. Like, there are some things that I'm like, we have to go back to the basics. So get involved. Like, we might need a group that doesn't ally to any of the other groups.
Right. So you actually talk about organize. Or new parents organize your own group, your own your own concerns, get together.
So you're telling basically parents should go to the Board of Ed and complain or send emails?
No, not always. Sometimes just sitting there, that they see you. You see me complaining every time? No, I go.
I'm show up. I arrive. My face is a regular face.
Yeah, my face is a regular face, and maybe we put somebody to run. And the problem with being in the board sometimes is the people that are in the board, they cannot speak up because they're in the board. And that's the problem with confidentiality. Sometimes you can do more when you're outside. So that's the problem. But you get signatures. You read a beautiful speech. You don't need to have 100 people, but you read a beautiful speech. This is the priorities. But obviously, there are changes that need to be made. And if we don't make them, I'm going to go back. I want to share something. Just because I have been telling Dr. Taylor, now Kevin Gilbert, how
This is going to be a two-part.
the problem, the problem, for example, with the high school. I work at the high school, so that's where I know the best, right? If you have a credit recovery where kids can make up as many absences as they have,
Okay.
or, the numbers you don't even know, there is not a procedure exactly of how it works. Why will you go to class? Now, my second thing is, if I have a grading policy, a grading formula, where I pass a high school year with 2 Ds and Fs, or zeros, the rest of the year, or with a C plus and 3 Fs, I pass the class, an AP class, with 40-something absences. This is true. What I'm telling you is...
Oh, I believe that.
If you have kids getting high and your policy for drugs is just putting them with a SAC counselor to talk.
But that's not only in Soma. That goes around.
Look, kids are going to get high always. That's generation. That's normal. But when your procedure is get them back with the SAC counselor and that's it, and what you do for the bathroom so they don't beep for the fire alarm is open the door or put vents so the smoke goes out.
Wow.
So we need to put some rules, basic rules. And when people feel that there are some kind of rules, you have 2,000 people at the high school.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Think about it. Where do you see a company with 2,000 people?
It's a big. That's Microsoft. That's big. That's big time.
Actually, we have more than 2,000 because 2,000 will be the students at the 200 or more people that works there. So in an everyday basis, and you have really no procedures, the kids are going to be in the hallways. Why am I going to go to class if I pass with 1 C plus, I get credit recovery? So let's put some things like that. And once they let us teach and people feel appreciated doing their job, because we didn't sign for this job to be disciplinarians. We signed for this job to teach.
Okay.
And once the kid feels like I'm learning and creating relationships, so from top to bottom, it's just going back to the basics in a lot of things. So, I mean, it's something, I don't want to make that family feel horrible about their decision because I moved to Maplewood after
But it's the reality. Unfortunately, it's the reality.
Right now is the reality, but we can't lose the hope.
Right.
Because that's the
But
only
we don't know when the school will be okay. This could be fixed in 1 year, like it could be in 10 years.
It takes, I'm telling you, the mess that we have right now,
gonna take years.
Taylor left, it's going to take us at least 3 to 4
So
years
you're
to
saying
fix.
Taylor waited way much worse than what it was
Well,
4 years ago when he was working? 3, 4? 4?
Taylor, what he did what happens is he had a lot of money. He had the $3 million of COVID to cover certain things. Right. But what he did is, I don't like to micromanage, so he didn't manage.
Okay.
So nobody knew anything. Mm-hmm. And when we asked central office, this principal told me this, and nobody knew anything, or they play like they didn't know anything. That's what I say. We felt gaslighting. We will tell them one thing, and a month later, what happened with this? I don't know. No, it was like I can't even explain it. And because he's a nice guy to talk to. He was a nice guy to talk to. You gave him the benefit of the doubt. After COVID, with everything that happened, you come and say, look, we got to give a little bit more now because we need to fix this relationship and we need to fix the schools, right? But then...
Now, what about last week? There were calls, I know it got very contentious for a forensic accountant to come in and get to the bottom of maybe what's going on here.
Why not? Why not? That's my...
I think a board of ed brought that up. Was it Bill? Someone?
Bill passed it. Bill tried to pass it. Why not? Because this is what happens. Knowing how we do things in South Orange and Maplewood, something probably is wrong. And everybody, could do something wrong. And I'm not saying illegal. I'm saying you didn't think this through or there is ways to save money. If you get a group of people that, let's say, costs 200,000, just to make it as high, that can save you $1 million for 200,000, why not? Why can't we check and say, this is the places where we're spending too much money and we have, instead of putting all these pilots, if we know special ed in this part is where we're messing up and spending a lot of money, let's fix that first. So it can guide you to things that you need to fix in order to, do better with that money. Also, maybe they can give you ideas. I suppose This is people that understand a budget from a school district, and they know how to do the most you can with the same money. So why not? I think it's a good idea because at the end of the day, it's like you hiring an accountant. You might say, look, I'm going to spend, let's say, $5,000 a year to have an accountant. Yeah, but my accountant helps me to make more with my own money.
Right.
Why wouldn't you do it? So I see it that way. I think to lose, if Jeff was right when he spoke the other day at the board meeting, Jeff Bennett, and he was doing the numbers about busing, and we could have saved $700,000 if we thought things differently.
Right.
Well, that tells me maybe we can save millions of dollars if we do things right with the budget.
And that's Jeff Bennett, by the way, very active Soma Talks.
Yes.
He's on your side all the time, Ileana.
Yeah, that's
Anthony
why-
Masucci, too.
Brilliant guy.
Yeah, he did analyze all the busing. So if he said we could have saved that money, think about it. $700,000 is already at least, it could be 7 positions more or even 8 if there is secretaries or depending on the salaries. So here you go. We cut 28 positions, but 10 people lost their jobs, right? The other 18 was through retirement, non-renewals. Maybe we would have saved those 10 people. And at least, we didn't have to go through that and lose good educators or good people in their jobs just because of this reason. So if he found that just in the busing, imagine in 170 something or $80 million.
I know.
That's how I see it. I mean, why not? If nothing else can be done because it is what it is, then at least we tried, right?
Well, we're with South Orange Maplewood Education Association Union President Rocio Lopez. Ileana, do you have anything you'd like to say as we wrap up the discussion?
I just want to ask her, do you see any hope anytime soon? I have an 8th grader that next year she's going to Columbia High School. And she told me, Mom, I don't want to go to Columbia High School. And I asked why. She was like, all my friends don't want to go to Columbia High School because of the constant fine, the constant this and all that. So already a lot of her friends are going to private school next school year. So I feel like a lot of parents like me were like hopeless. Like we don't have the money to put them in private school, but we gotta have no choice. They gotta make the best out of it. Like, is there any hope in all this? Like,
we have to. We have to have hope. We work in the schools, so
there are great teachers, there are great educators, and
absolutely,
and their heart and soul goes into this career.
But look, we have an opportunity to maybe fix things. Who knows? Right now, we are gonna get maybe a new superintendent, maybe not, a new BA. Every school year, and you're a teacher, it's an opportunity to fix things.
Correct.
The good thing about the schools is that every year is kind of different. So if you work in the summer and you do your homework and you put some things in place, you start fixing it. Usually to fix it, if it's a high school, it takes 4 years because you want to start with the freshmen. As they grow, you get the new culture, the new things going on. We have some good teachers. So it all depends on the experience. Like my students, personally, of course, they're AP students, so top-notch kids, right? They have a lot of fun. They enjoy a lot what they do. They love the teachers. They don't like all the things that are happening, but they love their teachers.
We didn't even touch about the part of the security in Columbia High School.
I mean,
again,
like you said, it could be a
like I said, I said it with James Davis. We need a part 2 from you. With Rocio, we need a part 2 too.
I'll come back unless somebody yells at me from my end and they tell me, Rocio, you're not allowed to talk anymore.
Next time on Someone Talks podcast, we'll be discussing part 2 of our. I just like to say a lot of the information I learned, and you've tripled the amount of information that I picked up, but a lot of it I just picked up from the Village Green. So shout out to Mary Mann, the Village Green. I was backtracking, looking at a lot of old articles, and I just real quickly want to read this. This was Board of Ed last week or a couple weeks ago. I guess one of the board members said 20 people could show up here. It's not going to change my opinion about the budget cuts. And this is Izzy Sandoval. Okay, he's a high school student. Izzy Sandoval talking to grown men and women. And he said, this is what he said when confronted with that comment. He said, my jaw was on the floor. Are you kidding me? For you, this may be a tiny moral inconvenience. But for us, it decides our future. I see your uncomfortable faces, and you should be uncomfortable because this is embarrassing. This is a kid talking about an art program that's being slashed and wiped away. This is who we're talking about here, and this kid should be on the Board of Ed.
I feel sometimes the Board of Ed, some really don't care. Like, I really don't, because they're with these social groups with the pressure on them and everything. I don't feel like they're you know.
It's a political position. So some people do it for the politics, and some people do it because they really want to make a difference.
Yeah, but they're hurting the kids at the end.
Agreed. But who votes?
Us.
Exactly.
But a lot of people vote blind.
But we need to educate ourselves too. So that's what I will tell that mother to. Watch the candidates, see how they are. If you think like that a candidate said something that is not appropriate and shouldn't be there the next time that person runs for the board, don't vote for them. So on point, that kid was on point. Because I'm going to say something. This is what dehumanizes. And I said it before. We cannot forget that in a school district, you're dealing with humans. This is not a business. There are some things that need to be run like business, probably the money. But at the same time, every decision you make is affecting people. Little people like our kids.
Correct.
And what is the point to have a school district that has beautiful logos or this and that if they don't have teachers or programs or paper?
Rocio, we thank you so much for coming in. This was a fantastic conversation. I hope the audience loved it as much as we did.
I have still like 72 more questions.
Wow.
We'll do it again.
Definitely, Rocio. Yeah. We will. I will definitely.
Perhaps at Coda Kitchen. We'll have a few drinks after the broadcast, and we can talk more about it. So, my name's Lee and Ileana Castillo, and Rocio Lopez. We really thank you for listening.
Yes, we do.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you again. We'll do it again soon. All right. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed are the speaker's own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of the Soma Talks podcast. The material and information presented here is for general information purposes only. The Soma Talks podcast name and all forms and abbreviations are the property of its owner, and its use does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific organization, product, or service.